It's 420. This is my theme song. Hey, it's Jeff Kravitz, whipping the glasses off. How are you? Welcome to 420 Live, another adventure into the land of distraction. We come to you daily, Monday to Friday, to take you away. And boy, there's a lot to distract you from if you've been watching the news, which I don't recommend. You're getting it from every side. We've got disasters, hurricanes on one coast, fires on the other. I talked to our friends today up in Northern Cal, our friends Henry Schwab and everybody up there, my friend Andrew Lawton, the people up there in San Francisco. It seems that the sky's blue today, that people are seeing a little relief finally from the nonstop smoke, which yesterday reached the East Coast, reached my friends in New Jersey, and sat on them for a while. So they're getting to feel what it's like to have the sun to be a little dot in the sky. It's been one heck of a past 6 months. We've been coming to you now for 6 months in this time slot. I want to say today's episode 134, our guest today, Marco Cochrane. He is an artist. He does very large art. Some 55-foot tall women, like Attack of the Giant Women. Remember that movie from the 50s? It could be time for a remake. Anyway, Marco's going to take us into his process. We're going to take a tour of his studio. We're going to check out some of his work that he's done. He's got an incredible story, and we're going to get into it today. Yesterday we were... what did we talk about? Oh, James Casey from the Trey Anastasio Band. What an amazing individual. The interview was incredible. Berkeley grad, listening to what it's like to be an accomplished musician or try to be an accomplished musician, what that path is like, to realize that your chops aren't where they need to be and you need to go to, at school when you show up at Berkeley and you're like, oh boy, I want to leave. So it was a great talk with James out in Hawaii and the Aux Chord Live, people who are doing the live shows. That's his new company. Check them out. We're going to try to get Natalie and Ethan on the show, Natalie Cressman, next week. Tomorrow, we're going to have native Wayne Jobson on the show. Wayne, if you know the reggae scene, he's been doing the reggae show on K-Rock for decades. I think that just about stopped now. But he's also produced a lot of Toots and the Maytals records, and he worked on Toots' latest release. So we're going to get into, tomorrow's going to be our Toots and the Maytal tribute show with Wayne Jobson, and we're going to talk to him about what it was like to work with Toots, and he's got plenty of stories. Wayne's a great guy, an old friend of mine for many years, and the Rasta Nation. We're 420 Live. I mean, come on, this is our pool. This is where we draw. And in this pool also, and where we've been, if you were here for the Monday show where we got into it with the people from BRCVR, you'll know that my love for virtual reality is growing every time I slip into the virtual world. It is an onion. It's a wormhole. You just dip in there, and it's incredible. And I think everybody kind of needs their own virtual world. That's their world. I'm going to have a Jeff Kravitz, a 420 Live world where you can slip in and see the old episodes or see what strain I'm smoking today, or I don't know. I'm just trying to think of things that would be interesting in the virtual world, because that is kind of our playground for the next couple of years. It's an amazing way for us to communicate. It was unreal to be able to go into a virtual world and show up at an event and start talking to strangers and just getting into conversations. And really interesting how people pick their avatars and stuff like that. I see a lot of applications for this technology. I think everybody that goes into that virtual world does. And the best thing is it keeps your brand alive 365 days a year. So you have stuff you can do all year long to keep people in the burn, or, working on your charities or whatever it is. Also, one of the shows we're working on now is with our friends from Headcount. As I constantly beat this banner about how hard it is to win this election this year, and how we all need to team together to get the side of good in there, get rid of the evil that has put us into a land where we are now. Headcount.org. You go there to make sure you're registered to vote, to make sure you're signed up in the right precinct, and to find facts about the candidates. And if you go on now, they're doing an event with Global Citizens Campaign, and we're going to try to get Hugh Evans and Andy Bernstein on the show to talk about this campaign where they've gone to people like Taylor Swift and Billie Eilish and Fish and Lenny Kravitz I saw today and Bob Weir and all these amazing musicians and said to them, hey, if your fans come and sign on, will you offer them perks like maybe a virtual meet and greet or something like that? So headcount.org has that all going on with global citizens. Near and dear to my heart is how we're going to have to change this whole administration and everything out there today. So, and also near to dear to my heart, as you know, I'm a burner and Burning Man, and opening up that whole world and bringing my friends on from the burn has opened up a whole amazing can of worms for me and allowed me to have guests on that are incredibly talented, whose work I've admired. And Marco Cochrane is one of those guys. I mean, when I went in 2013, I saw the 55-foot woman, I believe. It's so hard to tell because they're all like similar but different. If she's the one in Las Vegas at the park or because they're all over the place. But Marco's going to straighten us out today. Hello, Marco.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Where are you?
I'm in Petaluma, California.
Oh, good. So you're up north. What's the fire situation there?
Today it's beautiful. Blue sky, warm. It's been a while.
It's been a while, huh?
Couldn't even open the windows for weeks.
And just smelling the smoke.
Yeah.
But you didn't have to evacuate or anything?
No, I'm downtown.
Oh, good. Excellent.
Yeah.
And you live in your studio, or is your house your studio too, or are they two separate places?
With my wife, Julia.
Great. And tell us, how did you get involved in art? Was it something that started as a young man or something you got to later in life, making art for other people, being an artist?
It started when I was, after my first kid was born, so I was about 26. Before that, I had not wanted to be an artist because both my parents are artists. And I thought the lifestyle was just terrible. I want to do that. Depression and broke. And then I realized I already was depressed and broke, so I might as well do art. And started doing sculptures of women. The reason why? Do you want me to go into this whole thing?
Yeah, please come. Of course, I want to hear this.
All right,
this is why we're here.
Just in Berkeley in the '60s, and my parents ran sort of a halfway house where UC Berkeley would bring people who were having bad trips to our house, and my parents would talk them down. So that's where I grew up. Trigger warning, when I was 7, my friend who I grew up with got dragged into a van outside of my house and raped. And I thought, well, we're gonna stop everything and find this guy, right? And they didn't do anything, and nobody did anything. They didn't even call the police. And I thought, well, something should be done about this. This is an emergency, if you ask me. And so I did. I started out thinking, like, why would he do something like that? How could anyone do something like that? It seemed to me that he didn't realize that she was a person. And so I do sculptures of women who are just being themselves. They choose their own poses. And so each of these poses was, the big ones is all Deja Solis, a friend of mine. And she would come in and say, I want to do this pose. In her case, it's all feelings. Most people are doing feelings, but then in 2009, I thought about, I'd done all these sculptures in small form, like 4 feet tall, 5 feet tall. Then in 2009, I could see how to do the big stuff all at once.
You could see how to build it or how it would look, or because the original ones were clay, correct?
What was that?
Were they clay originally when you molded them? I mean,
clay, yeah.
And then what was the process where you figured out that you wanted them to be 55 feet tall and translucent, but able to light? I mean, these, you can see the pictures flashing by here. Yeah. Absolutely stunning.
Well, they're part of the clay process. I build a mesh structure to put the clay on. And often I'd get pretty close to the surface and people would say, wow, that's a sculpture right there. I didn't know how to make them stand up. And I didn't want to have the structure inside that holds them up. And so that was what I saw, was how to build it as a truss, like the whole thing. So there's no inside skeleton or something. And then the following year we did it. And my wife and I had just met, and she was looking at me. She goes, "There's no way. What are you talking? You can't do this. This is impossible." And we did pull it off.
How did you figure out the scale?
Well, I'm a relatively competitive person, and the sculptures that were there for Crude Awakening in 2007, that was my first year. They were 30 feet tall. And so I did enlargements for a living. That's what I'd done for 20 years, is to make sculptures bigger for other artists. So I knew how much bigger it would be if I just went up 10 more feet. And it's totally unreasonable scale anyway, but that's what it was. It was to compete against Karen Cusolito, who did those figures that are about 30 feet tall.
Gotcha. And how do you do it? Are they all separated and you piece them together there, or do you actually have to lay the piece down on a flatbed and bring it over?
They all come in pieces. 2 semis. It takes about 2 semis to carry each sculpture. And they have to fit on a truck, and there's parameters. You have to fit pieces inside of that, so they had to be cut up in a way that would work. But just interestingly, I didn't know any of that with Bliss. I didn't know what I was doing at all on that scale. And once we were getting close to leaving for Burning Man, I measured the torso, which I had already made, and had the pieces, the legs come off and the arms and the head come off. And if I tilted it just right, it fit in an 8x10 frame. Totally by mistake. And Ben would have had to do a wide load. It was just magic. Like, oh, thanks, universe. That was great.
But then in the future, you had to think about it, right?
Yeah, the next ones I have to think about. Yeah, now I know. Yeah.
What was it like the first time you put her out there on Burning Man and set her up? Did it all go according to plan? I mean, nothing does, so I'm wondering how many hiccups you had.
It did. We did put it up before we left. We put it up just to do a test, because none of us had done anything like that using a crane. Actually, Little Joe was on crew, and he was, luckily he showed up at the right time and knew how to use all that equipment. But it did actually just work. All the pieces fit perfectly because of the way they're built. So, yeah, it worked.
That's that. You know what? From all me going to Burning Man, I have a hard time setting up my tent.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. And it was the last year that it was kind of a free for all.
What, 2013 talking about, or 2007?
2010 was Bliss Dance. And there was a whiteout storm that lasted for almost a week. And so after a while, they just said, we're just going to take it down in this storm. And so we had people yelling from one piece of equipment to the next, yelling to the crane op, yelling back up to me, and I'm taking the head off in a man lift, and I can't see anything at all. I can just see the head 40 feet off the ground, and I'm thinking, they're never going to let us do anything like this again. I can't see anything. They can't see me. I can't see them. We're yelling. Oh, it was wonderful. I'll never forget that.
It was wonderful.
Don't do that anymore.
How many have you done now?
3, and I'm working on a 4th.
And so where did they live afterwards, and how do you figure out where they live?
2 of them sold. Bliss Dance sold, and that's in Vegas. And the one you saw, Truth is Beauty, sold to a company in San Leandro, south of Oakland.
Gotcha.
3rd one is in my parking lot. I can show it to you.
Yeah, well, we're going to take a tour. Do you want to take? Are you ready to do the tour?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, we're going to go on a tour of the studio.
Well, I don't know how to flip this. Did I just blow it?
No, you're still there. You might have to just hold it in front of you. I don't know if the flip cam works on this.
Okay, well, just for the fun of it, there's wow, look at that. You can't see anything. There's Revolution.
Whoa.
That's
Wow.
50.
That's incredible. So that's 55 feet, right? Or 40? How tall is she?
50 feet.
50 feet.
Okay, so this is the next one. Can you even see this? Totally.
Yeah, if you tilt down a little bit, yes. What's that made out of? Is that wire?
That's plaster. And here's the giant version.
Is that the new Gaia piece you're working on?
Yes.
Wow. She's a beauty. What's that made of? What is that? Is that the grid?
It's wood with metal over it. The wood is not. It's not part of the structure. It's just. It's a form to build over.
Oh, so you're going to take the wood off?
Yeah.
Wow. And how do you put the lighting in?
This one will have just one light. See if we can get that. Here's the face.
Oh yeah. Wow.
So wood. So the whole thing's going to look like that.
I got you. It's totally see-through like that.
Yeah, but with mesh.
So do you usually use wood?
Nope. The funny part is I did this so that because I was starting to take over all the work for like Revolution. I was just being stingy and wouldn't let anybody do anything. So this time I was gonna set it up so people could just be a big crew and work shoulder to shoulder and build this thing because all the information is there. And then COVID hit. As soon as we were ready to go, COVID hit, and so we had to stop. And now it's just we allow like 4 people in here at a time instead of what I imagined was there'd be 50 people in here.
Right. Was she headed to the playa this year?
She was, yeah.
Wow. At what point do you take the wood off?
We're gonna weld it all.
You're gonna weld it off.
Yeah, weld the whole. Wait a minute, I gotta turn lights on.
That's fine.
They're quick. Yeah. It's going to show.
So the idea was to have her out there. Now, would she be strong enough for people to climb on or no?
I don't think so. It's going to be very bouncy.
Right.
So like back.
Wow. The detail is absolutely incredible on the muscle structure. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Beautiful lines.
We try to do brilliant stuff.
Well, I'm sure have you changed the process a lot? I mean, I guess the wood's new, but I mean, does the wood allow you to have more detail?
It's a little smoother and it allows more people to place the metal instead of me doing it. Like the information is all there, so you can just set the pieces where they're all hot glued in place, and then we'll glue it. Then we'll weld it. There's a welded.
Oh, I see. I see what you're talking about there. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's wait, gotta do backwards.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
It's installed about 6 months ago in South San Francisco.
So that is that the inside of the structure that you made, and the outside is out already?
Yes, that's the clay, and it was built like the like this figure and like the other figures built into a mold that was on this. There's
oh wow, that's the overview, huh?
Of the big one that was scanned. That's a 14-foot piece that was scanned. Here is let's see how to do this.
Oh,
the life-size figure for that piece. And here's what I'm working on now. Working on a male figure.
Is that your first male?
No, I've done a couple before, but this is, yeah, it's been a while.
Oh, and so there's your other statues that you've done over the years too, right? Behind him, the other
Yes.
forms.
Yep. Those are all old.
You know, it's very It's very kind of like Westworld in there.
Yes. Yeah. And then this piece was something I'd started during COVID. I'd seen the original Venus of Willendor in Paris, and I thought I'm going to make a big one of those.
Wow. So how big is she going to be? Or you don't know yet?
12 feet.
12 feet.
Yeah. Here's some bronzes.
Wow. So do you make smaller versions and distribute them all, sell them also?
Yes. Yes.
And what's the format for that?
Here, I'll show you some little ones. Like this is the small scale.
Oh, they're great.
So there's a few bronzes back there. And
do you do small ones in the wire too?
yeah, once in a while I do. Yeah,
because I think that'd be really cool. The one if they lit small ones that lit up. You know,
there's one right there behind me.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, no, but yeah, you could put little lights in that. That's true. Yeah,
because I mean, so one thing I love about the burn and the art at the burn is you have to figure out your daytime look and you have to figure out your nighttime look.
Right.
So how do you figure out your color scheme and where your lights go and everything like that?
I have someone who's a professional do it.
you let the pros handle it.
Yeah, I'm colorblind anyway. So
are you?
Yeah.
Wow. What's that? Have you tried those glasses that's supposed to bring your color back?
I have actually.
And what'd you think?
It was shocking. It really was.
Like what?
Like, you know, they show the guy crying when he puts the glasses on, and I thought that's stupid. And then I did it myself, and I thought I did tear up a little bit. I actually did, and I went like, if this is what it's like to be able to see color. I don't really want to wear these because I'd have to wear them all the time because it was so much more beautiful. It was so much more intensely. It was so much more intense visually. The whole world is, and it was really.
So how do you see it now? Is it black and white? Is it or is it grayscale? I mean, what's the difference?
The greens were so much brighter. It was shocking to see like a tree. It was like it was glowing.
Wow.
Like everything's not, it's not quite a grayscale because I can see colors. Just like green and orange are difficult for me to see the difference. But I can do 3D really well.
So have you kept them? I mean, do you pull them out every once in a while, or you're just like, that was good?
I don't even want them.
You didn't want them.
I felt like if I had them, I would have to use them all the time. And the difference is I'd rather just stay where I'm at.
You're happy where you are.
It was so disappointing to take them off. I thought, I don't want to do this. I just don't want to.
Do you think there's ever going to come away? There has to be some kind of surgery eventually that's going to come up or something they're going to figure out. Do they know why? Is it a gene thing or is it genetic or?
Yeah, it is genetic. Yeah.
So your parents were colorblind also?
No, I think my dad's a little bit colorblind. Yeah.
It was interesting artists that don't work because that's pretty interesting. So when you see her at night at the playa lit up, I mean, are you're seeing the shift in the colors?
I am seeing the colors. It's just that I wouldn't choose I'd let somebody else choose the colors because I'm just not.
No, it totally makes sense. But your work with the form,
those purple, blue, that is so beautiful out there.
Oh yeah, when I still have this on rotation here, and you can see when they come up and when you see them change at night, it's just like, I mean, come on,
yes,
beautiful. It's beautiful. And these are party ground central when they're up at the Burn. What was the last year you brought one out?
2015.
2015?
Yeah.
And this year you were going to have Gaia out there.
Yeah.
So is she going to move to next year, hopefully?
Yes. Yes. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
There'll be a burn. I have no clue, you know.
Have you tried the virtual burn yet?
You know, no.
It's really interesting. You should have a piece out there.
I did. We do. Somebody made all 3 sculptures.
Oh, they did. They put them out there.
Yeah, just it's. I needed to be a little more beautiful. I think some of them were. I just didn't really get. I didn't focus on that.
Yeah, well, I think that as they dialed in, I mean, the unique thing for me about the whole experience was the social aspect more than anything else. Was the fact that you meet other people, like-minded people, and have conversations with them out there, which is one thing we're really missing now in life is those social connection, and actually sitting there talking to someone, like looking, even if they're a cartoon and you're a cartoon too,
yeah.
It's just like so bizarre, but you're actually talking, and it's like, it's weird, but I found it weird and wonderful too, because I think it's something we're kind of lacking. Has a pandemic really affected you and your lifestyle?
I stay in my studio almost all the time. I always have. So in that sense, it's not different. There's a lot less people around here.
Right.
Actually, I started missing humans about a month ago, like really, which normally I could go 6 months without talking to anybody. Which sounds crazy, but it's true. I mean, it's just, yeah.
So is your studio open for people that are in the area? They make appointments to come in, or how does it work to come and see your art there?
I just open the gate and people come. People come by every day just to look at Revolution. And if if I feel like talking to people, I have the doors open. And but people, as long as they mask up, and we're sort of outdoors when we're in this shop. So.
And how's your business been?
Well, since this was a Burning Man project, we were only able to raise half the money we need. So hopefully there'll be Burning Man again and we can raise the other half. And if not, we'll have to figure something out.
Yeah.
Gaia for sale if you want it.
You got what? What was that? Got what?
Gaia's for sale, and so is Revolution.
Oh, great. Well, and so do a lot of cities contact you for the work after they see it? I mean, how do people find it to buy it from you? Do they just call you up and like, hey, we want that piece?
Yeah, they go through the website, and it's not cities. It's for the big ones, it's corporations that are doing like 1% for arts, or just trying to get now there's a sort of an interest in creating gathering spaces, outdoor gathering spaces, and having a giant piece of art in the middle of it, because that's what we got to do right now. Is outdoor
hangs. Yeah, outdoors is where it's at, and easier for us here in California than our friends on the East Coast that are about to come into winter. But
yep.
I mean, I think your art should be on every street corner. I think it's absolutely incredible. And I think your message, I mean, you started to get in the message there about how your art is to empower the feminine energy.
Right. I think we got it, crystallized it for that 2013, which was, what is it? It's what would the world be like if women were safe? That was written around the base. And San Leandro, who not the city, but a company bought it. It's right next to the BART station in San Leandro. They have totally embraced that message and have, like, for high school kids, like, they do projects around it. And I think it's having a huge effect in that town, which is really wonderful. Much more than I ever would have thought possible.
Yeah, well, because people are just attracted to it.
Well, and at the time, all the people in government were women, including the chief of police. So they made a bold statement and put this giant sculpture and supported putting this giant sculpture in. And I hope it's worked for them. I think it has. They wanted to make a woman-friendly business area. And, 90% of women-owned businesses succeed.
Really?
Yes. Just like you would think, right? About 5% of male-owned businesses succeed, and 90% of women-owned businesses do.
That's true, that statistic?
Yeah.
Well, I know how I'm going into business with next.
Yeah, exactly.
That's probably my problem. I keep trying to go into business with dudes.
Right. Yeah, who do all kinds of stupid shit.
Well, even in politics, it's time for the feminine energy to really emerge. These men and their systematic slavery and the abuse. It's just every day there's something else that pops up where you're like, what? How can people act like this?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you can put a control on it with your art? I mean, or a lid on it?
I am like directly working on that issue by doing sculptures of women, because I really do believe that they have a different, intrinsically different approach to a lot of stuff, and I think it's time to try it. What I see, what's happening in politics now, it's like, yeah, of course this is happening. This guy is just like a total dude. He's just being a total dude. Like, I can do whatever I want. Like, okay, but.
Well, that's been his right his whole life, right? Because that's the right of white privilege.
Absolutely.
And
we're right. He doesn't even know. Yeah. Anyway, who knows what?
You're right. I try not to talk about it, but it's so hard because it's such a part of our life that we're going through right now. And the message is getting drilled home all the time. And you see it in the way these guys treat women and their disrespect in general. It's unbelievable. They're literally a bunch of perverts and rapists, and they're running our country. And it's kind of insane. You know? And not only are people all right with it, but they're ready for 4 more years of it. And it just... It's time. It's time for artists. It's time for everybody to speak up and let their piece be known. What's up? What else you got? You got Gaia? She's being worked on. You must have something else on the pike.
Yeah. Well, those 2 figures I showed up top are what I'm working on now. Those will both be enlarged to much bigger. Yeah. I can't really talk about. I have to be secretive. There's one thing I'm working on right now that I think it's very relevant, but it's in the baby stages, and I don't want to talk about it.
Is it still? No, let's just go around. Is it still in the same vein of what you've been doing, or is it a complete different direction?
It is. It's recognizing people as human, if you can. It's difficult. I mean, especially these guys that you're just talking about, like they don't treat women like people at all.
But they don't treat people like people. They don't treat it, and not just women, men, minorities. It's everybody.
It is everybody. Yeah.
They're systematically oppressive, which is what's really the issue, is that they're trying to keep everybody under their thumb. So you're right. We need the humanity on everybody to realize that we're all equal is the hard part.
Yeah. Well, I mean, God, I've been thinking we would have to do this my whole life, and it's hopefully this is enough of a wake-up call to do it, to have people notice this. Maybe we got to do 4 more years. There's times when I feel like that. Like,
I don't know. I think we kind of learned our lesson. I like to think.
Oh God, I think it's terrible if it happens, but it doesn't feel like people really are getting this. How outrageous it is. I mean, I get it. You get it. But it seems like, I don't know.
You know what? I think that one part of it is that some people, especially the supporters of a dysfunctional person, don't like to be wrong. because that's kind of where he is. He can never admit that there's a mistake or anything that's gone wrong. And I think that that's part of the problem with our world is we're dealing with people that even when they're wrong, they don't want to admit that they're wrong or say they're sorry because it comes from a position of weakness.
Right. Don't want to be weak.
I apologize all the time for anything, even if I'm not sorry. I mean, you're married. If my wife, I'm like, honey, you're always right. I don't care. I'm not fighting anymore about it.
I'm almost there.
You're almost there. Well, it's the only way to do it. Two ways to deal with marriage is medicate. Self-medication is very important. You know, a little bit of, personally, I'm a smoker, so a little hit of here and there will keep me even keeled. And, you know, learning to admit you're wrong even when you're right.
Yeah. Wow. I can't agree with that. My wife's watching this right now.
Well, we love our wives and they keep us sane, right? Because especially these times, I mean, it's been very much talk about how you and your wife work together.
So this sculpture I showed you is a sculpture of her. So that's one way we work together.
Beautiful.
She came up with the pose. She does all the fundraising, all the paperwork, you know, runs the business. She's an attorney, so she's also the attorney for the business. Yeah, unless we need a different type. I never knew you needed like 45 different types of attorneys.
Well, there's copyright, right? There's all these different levels now.
Yeah. So all that stuff, all the stuff that has to do with keeping track of everything, and I do the sculpting, figuring out how to build things.
You're the artistic end. She's left. Wait, you're right brain. She's left brain. Right, is that right? Or is it the other way around?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay.
Yes, right. I'm left-handed.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how we do it, and I couldn't do any of this without her. I mean, she was there from the beginning of these giant ones, and I can't say I stayed totally sane during any of it, but it helped me a lot.
Well, I think part of that insanity is what helped drives the art, right?
It's true. Yeah, it is. It is true.
I mean, if you're not troubled a little bit, it's really hard to be an artist.
Yeah, it's true. It is. They are the same thing. That angst, that suffering, whatever. It's a driver for creativity. It just is.
Yeah, and well, musicians and artists. I mean, it's a common thread, right? Throughout our lives, most of our famous artists have been a little bit touched in the head and cut off their ears and stuff.
Yeah.
Don't cut off your ears, Marco.
Well, yeah.
What was that? I'm sorry.
That I enjoy are crazy, obviously. So I do my best to stay sane.
Yeah, and that's where your wife really helps.
Yeah.
Because she'll just tell you you're fucking crazy too.
Yes. Well, gives me a look, and I go, okay.
She's like, no. She doesn't have to speak, right? Nonverbal.
It's true. She just goes, mm-hmm. And I know, okay, that was a no.
What was one idea she shot down that you could talk about art-wise?
Oh God, what? No, that really.
Was there anything she said that really wasn't feasible? Like, don't even try that. Don't even waste your time.
Well, actually, we just had a talk a couple weeks ago where she said, "Okay, I'm gonna." She usually goes into how to get something done in reality right off the bat, right? And like doing a giant sculpture like this, it's not really reasonable at all. Right, on any level to do it, especially to do it on spec. I mean, it's all nuts. But since she's like grounded in reality, now I am too, in the sense that the thing has to stand up. It can't fall over. It has to actually work. But how do you raise all this money? How do you interact with cities and all that stuff? She goes right into that mode, and she said, okay, you know what? I think I'm gonna tell you that when you say something like, we should try this, she goes right into, well, how are we really going to do it? And part of how we'd really do it is like some kind of magic's going to happen, right? I mean, that's how these things actually work. Some kind of crazy thing works. And then or I know, I'm in the flow. And so she was like, okay, I see that this does work. I'm gonna stop trying to get realistic, and I'll tell you, I'm not gonna be realistic for the next 10 minutes. So let's talk. It's new because it was really frustrating for me to run up against a brick wall of this isn't real. Like this isn't really gonna work. I'm like, yeah, I know it's not really. I mean, it'll work if something crazy happens. And so far, I think crazy things have happened.
Your wife you're forcing your muse. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
She's fighting it out. She's kind of squeezing it out like a tube of toothpaste.
It was definitely, it's been intense to be doing this sculpture during all this, and be married and
right, and then have the burn taken away, which you were planning for, and
yeah, it's an intense experience. But I still sane. A friend of mine came over, and she goes, I'm surprised that more people aren't freaking out, like really losing it. And I thought, that's true. It is surprising, actually, that people aren't going like, I don't know what you would actually do, have a nervous breakdown but it's a lot. When the fires kicked in, it's like, okay.
Well, weren't people freaking out about that?
Yeah, but I guess because most of the people we know are burners, and this type of really extreme weather or, extreme experiences are normal. Like it
happens every year. You had it last year. You had fires, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely scary when we live in the woods. I mean,
right.
Stuff happens, and it freaks me out, freaks her out, freaks everybody I know. I mean, I have lots of friends who live in the woods, and they're going like, what am I going to do? I'm like, well, I have a big parking lot. You can come here.
And you're in a huge wooden structure filled with all your art, which is wood and also other material that would burn in the fire, right?
Steel building, so that's good.
Oh, it's sealed.
Steel. Yeah, wood would freak me out. But also we're downtown, so
not as bad as being in the little hollows around there, right?
Not a whole lot of trees around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're downtown.
Well, Marco, is there anything you want to tell everybody out there in the world? I know you haven't done a lot of these or been out there talking to people.
Right. Gosh, I mean, it's so sappy, but don't forget to do what you love.
I love it. And stay focused, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you coming on and giving us a tour of your studio and talking to us today. It was great meeting you, and I look forward to seeing you out on the playa next year.
Right. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Marco. Take care. There you go. Marco Cochrane from those beautiful big sculptures. I mean, if you haven't seen them, if you haven't been back there in the park in Vegas, I mean, you could just sit out there for hours and watch these beautiful sculptures. So, Bethany, there you go. For Marco, your art is always some of my favorite on the playa. Thank you, Marco. That's very nice. And Destin, Garrick, good to see Marco. And Carrie, absolutely love his pieces, just gorgeous. Yes, we've all been out there on the playa and seen Marco's amazing art. I want to thank all my friends from the playa that have helped me connect with Laura Kimpton, with Marco, with everybody out there. A shout out to my Dang Gang crew, all my friends out there, my Prodigal Swan Camp, Horizon, the great people I've camped over the years. Dan Dassman, I haven't talked about Dan, but he was one of the first people I camped with out there at the playa in 2013 when I went out there. So big shout out to all my friends that helped me on my burns, because you cannot do this alone. But, Marco, those little pieces are beautiful. I'd love to have one lit up in the house. I'm going to have to talk to Marco's wife about that because they are phenomenal. I doubt they would want to trade a print for one of those, but I would love to have one of those pieces. They're beautiful. The work is just absolutely incredible of all our artist friends, and they just keep us all going, keep us all in touch. Thank you all for tuning in. Let's hit up we haven't talked a little bit about Solo Pipe, one-handed pipes, my friends from Solo Pipe. We've been giving out to our guests since the very beginning of 420 Live. They're handy. They work great. So Solo Pipe and Asher's, the chocolate bars, they're still happening. The 420 Live bars are still happening. Just because I don't talk about them, your 420 Live code gets you 20% off at Asher's. Spend $75. They'll throw an 8-ounce bar, potato chips, pretzels, raisins, mini M&Ms, and coconut flakes in that bar. And let me tell you, it won't last 5 minutes in your house once you open that sucker up. And, head count. We're going to be talking to Andy and you, hopefully, from Global Citizen. Get on that head count site. Find your favorite band. Sign up for some tchotchkes. Get your stuff. Get your stuff. Thank you, Hank, for tuning in. All my friends out there. Josh, thank you, you guys. Dave, we had a great jam with Dave on Sunday. We'll be playing again soon. Everybody out there, peace, love, happiness to everybody. Here's the big hug. Whoa. Tomorrow, Toots and the Maytals. Toots left the planet. COVID-19 claims another genius. Tomorrow, we will talk to Native Wayne Jobson. The master, the reggae master, worked with Toots, worked with many amazing people. We're going to get into Wayne's whole deal tomorrow. Friday, I don't know, still working on that, but I got a couple great things lined up. And next week with Wood Brothers on one day, and we're going to do the head count people with the Global Citizens people, hopefully working on all those details, dialing it all in, keeping you all distracted. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great Wednesday.